Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Ever feel like corporate reports are written in code? Today we're cracking open NLS Pharmaceutics' latest filing, and trust me, it's a wild ride of mergers, potential drug sales, and a whole lot of financial juggling. Let's see what's really going on. This could get interesting. Before we dive in, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. This document, filed with the SEC on June 9, 2025, is actually a mix of things. It's a notice of a shareholder meeting, a proxy statement asking shareholders how to vote, and also a prospectus because NLS is planning to issue shares. Basically, NLS needs its shareholders to say yes to a big merger plan. It's amendment number 3 to a previous filing, which means things have changed a few times already. This adds another layer to the situation. It's like adjusting the sails on a ship mid-voyage. NLS, a Swiss company, is trying to merge with Kadimastem, an Israeli company. If the deal goes through, Kadimastem will become a part of NLS. NLS is hoping to get more involved in the market with Kadimastem's technologies. This is the preliminary version, so the numbers are still subject to change. It's like reading a rough draft. The final story might look a little different. Kadimastem shareholders will own about 80% of the merged company, while the original NLS shareholders end up with only 20%. This is a reverse merger, which is used for a company to go public without an initial public offering. NLS's current bosses will step down to make way for Kadimastem's executives. Only one current NLS member will remain on the board. They're asking shareholders to approve the merger and a bunch of related changes, like issuing new shares and changing the company's name to NewCellX. These votes are a green light for the Kadimastem deal. They're stating it is not a cross-border issuer tender offer or cross-border third-party tender offer. This means that these rules about tender offers don't apply to this document. Kadimastem's people will be in charge with Ronan Tito as the new executive chairman and CEO. Kadimastem's chief scientific officer and several new board members from Kadimastem are also on the list. There are lawyers from different firms on both sides that are going to have a busy year. NLS will change its name to NewCellX AG. This will be approved with a shareholder vote. NLS stresses to read carefully. This information is not complete and may be changed. It's like a disclaimer urging to not make any rush decisions based on incomplete data. This is not the finished deal. It might change, so read it carefully. They need to increase the share capital to account for Kadimastem shares merging into NLS. It's like expanding the pie so everyone gets a piece. They want to reinstate the capital band, giving the board more flexibility to deal with the company's capital structure, like issuing new shares or reducing existing ones. They want to limit voting rights to 9.9% for any single shareholder, giving the board more control. The company's name is intended to be changed to NewCellX AG. The company's shares are intended to continue to be traded on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol NSIL. No one may combine more than 9.99% of the votes. The board of directors has sole discretion to grant exceptions to this restriction on voting rights. The board recommends electing the Kadimastem nominees as members. The company's senior management is intended to be newly constituted. The board of directors believes that the newly proposed members of the senior management are well suited to the position. Shareholders of the company as they exist prior to the completion of the transactions contemplated by the merger agreement are expected to be entitled to receive the net proceeds from the sale of the divested business. The company intends to convert outstanding options and RSUs issued by Kadimastem into equivalent securities with identical rights in company. This whole document is like a prospectus, explaining the deal and NLS common shares in accordance to the rules of the Securities Act. There are risks. NLS urges you to read carefully and in its entirety. It wants you to know what you're voting for. Kadimastem ordinary shares will be converted into NLS common shares at an exchange ratio. It is anticipated that the initial exchange ratio is estimated to result in Kadimastem shareholders holding approximately 85% of the issued and outstanding NLS common shares. NLS is holding an advisory vote to approve the new senior management. NLS plans for the common shares of the surviving company to trade under NLS's new name, NewCellX Ltd, and new trading symbols for its common shares and traded warrants, NSIL and NSEL of schedule. The NLS board recommends that the NLS shareholders vote for each of the proposals. NLS has supplied all information contained or incorporated by reference into this proxy statement Prospectus relating to NLS and Kadimastem has supplied all information contained or incorporated by reference into this proxy statement. Prospectus relating to Kadimastem. The document is very thorough, giving the shareholders all the details. Let's take a look at some of the critical points. This section is designed to clarify the details of the upcoming votes. Kadimastem's shareholders will get shares of NLS. What used to be shares of Kadimastem will turn into the right to a certain amount of NLS shares. The actual number of shares to be issued to Kadimastem shareholders isn't fixed. The fully diluted share split at the closing will be approximately 80% to Kadimastem shareholders and 20% to Kadimastem shareholders and 20% to NLS shareholders. The amount Kadimastem holders get won't change based on the price of NLS stock. Their stock can be worth more or less after the merger. The upper and the lower limits of the capital band in Article 3A are to be amended. These amendments provide the company with the necessary flexibility regarding potential future transactions involving the company's capital structure. This amendment ensures that no sole shareholder may gain a controlling voting majority in the company without the board of directors approving such majority. The company's shares are intended to continue to be traded on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol NSIL. Kadimastem's management will take over at NLS. It's a total leadership change. New compensation packages will be awarded to NLS's board and executives. NLS plans to sell off most of its current projects and give the money to existing shareholders. This might be a nice payout. They consider themselves an emerging growth company under the Securities Act. Let's take a closer look at the respective share prices and market capitalizations. This is the key to understanding what's happening. For on July 26, 2024, NLS market cap was at $25. Numbers completely changed to $8.820 mark $10. Numbers completely changed to $8.2025. Those numbers completely changed to $8.828 2025. Those numbers completely changed to $8.20. Numbers completely changed to $8.828 2025. Those numbers completely changed to $8.80 million and 32.5. Those numbers completely changed to $8.80 50.25. Those numbers completely changed to $8.80 million and 32.50.25. Those numbers completely changed to $8.80 million and 32.55 millions marketed to 225. Those numbers completely changed to 8 by May 28, 25, $25 million respectively. Emerging growth company that prepares its financial statements in accordance with US GAAP has elected not to use the extended transition period for complying with any new or revised financial accounting standards. They're warning that future predictions might not come true. Lots of things could change. Now comes the part that no one likes, but everyone needs to know about. They list all the things that could go wrong. If NLS cannot satisfy the initial listing requirements and other rules of NASDAQ, NLS's securities may not be listed or may be delisted. This could negatively impact the price of its securities and your ability to sell them. Also, even if the merger is completed, there is no guarantee that any proceeds will be paid to NLS shareholders under the CVR agreement. The combined company is expected to comply with NASDAQ's continued listing standards, which include but are not limited to requirements regarding minimum market capitalization, shareholders' equity, bid price, and certain corporate governance criteria. Here is the pre-merger compensation and share ownership for the directors and executive officers. What does that even mean to investors? Mr. Ronan Tito has served as Kadimastem's executive chairman of the board of directors since December 2024. These people seem qualified, but it's still another risk factor for the success of the business. The merger is not subject to Swiss withholding tax, which means that the Swiss resident individuals as well as non-SIME Swiss-band resident individual taxpayers holding NLS common shares or preferred shares as part of a trade or business carried on in Switzerland. If an emerging growth company that prepares its financial statements in accordance with US GAAP has elected not to use the extended transition period for complying with any new or revised financial accounting standards provided pursuant to Section 7 and 2B of the Securities Act, the registrant hereby amends this registration statement on such date or dates as may be necessary to delay its effective date. This annex contains the full details on the agreement and plan of merger. Here is an overview of the companies involved as for purposes of the merger as of December 19, 2024. Kadimastem has been valued at $71.1 million and $12 million, and NLS has been valued between $11 million and $12 million. On the date immediately prior to the public announcement of the merger, July 26, 2024, NLS closing price per NLS common share on the Nasdaq was $7.06, with a market capitalization of $25,002, with a market capitalization of $200.06, was $122,447, with a market capitalization of $66, with a market capitalization of $200.64, the non-$60.46. Alright, that's our breakdown of NLS Pharmaceutics' latest filing. As a whole, NLS seems to be making a big bet on Kadima-Stem. It's a risky but potentially rewarding move, as there are high hopes that the company can reach the next level as a combined entity. Here are the notable points to have. The reverse merger is really a takeover of NLS with a huge change in stock distribution. All there is a promise of selling off current assets and distributing SDA is a promise of selling off current assets and distributing Accession to take this new direction in the merger. There is a CVR, but the language seems wishy-washy. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.